Mr. Attorney, will you call the roll, please?
I'd like to call this meeting of the Mayor and Council on July 21st, 2011 to order. On roll call, Council members Catamagna.
Here.
Castiglia.
Here.
Conboy.
Here.
Prowinski.
Here.
Mr. Work is on vacation. Mr. Boncino.
Here.
And Mayor Moller.
Here. Before we start the meeting, I'd like to indicate that our attorney, Brian Giblin, is acting as our borough clerk. Our borough clerk has another commitment that he had to attend, family commitment, and Mr. Giblin is taking over the meeting and going to conduct it for us free of charge. Because usually he's sitting back here not doing anything, so he's going to sit there and not do anything. Will everyone please rise for the prayer and flag salute? O God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting which we trust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231, the Public Law of the State of New Jersey requires the commencement of each meeting a statement by the presiding officer, now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record of Hackensack and the Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such notice in the office of the borough clerk as well as in the public place within the municipal building and notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2011. This council meeting is going to be videotaped and placed on cable television, channel 77. The dates are Tuesday at 12 noon, Thursday at 4 p.m., and Friday at 11 a.m. Tuesday, 12 noon, Thursday, 4 p.m., Friday, 11 a.m. If I remember, I'll try to repeat them before we close the meeting. Okay? Mr.
Thank you. Tonight, Mayor, we have the approval of minutes, the executive session of June 9th, 2011, the regular meeting of June 16th, 2011, the executive session of June 16th, 2011, and the special public meeting of July 29th, 2011.
Do any of the councilmen have any problem with that, or can I have a roll on all?
Just one, Mayor, I wasn't here for the July 29th meeting, so I'll have to abstain on that one.
Okay, may I have a motion
June
to
29th, I'm
to
sorry.
approve all four with Mr. Chewinski abstaining on the July 20,
June 29th.
June 29th?
You know, I said July, that's what's written, Mayor, it must
Yeah,
be June.
I just said the
That's-
same thing,
Yeah,
it's June.
that's that
It's
type.
moved by Mr. Boncino, second. Somebody? Frank, Mr. Caramagna, second by Mr. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Tonight on ordinances, Resolution 196-11.
Brian, here, you want this one?
Yeah, I just need to find where the...
I got it here. This is the change one you made.
We'll read the change. Just read the introduction, Mr. Giblin. Mr. Giblin?
Yes.
You just have to read that, and then we can explain. That's the one you need.
Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend an ordinance of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Traffic, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, August 18, 2011, at 8 o'clock p.m. or soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and he is hereby authorized, to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Boncino, second.
Second.
Mr. Caramagna. Any discussion? Yes.
Mayor, oh, yeah, go ahead.
We did make a change on here. Mr.
Yes,
Giblin?
if I may, Mayor, the ordinance on River Drive and Gilbert Avenue, the second, the bottom prohibition should be left or right, so you can't make a turn either way from River Drive onto Gilbert Avenue. And for both restrictions, it will be between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. and 2:30 and 3:30 p.m.
All right, the only thing is, we need a bigger sign,
Yeah,
because the people cannot
no,
read that.
the,
Okay. Okay.
You're absolutely right. I rode by today and I passed it right up. I was looking for it and missed it.
Mayor, may I just?
Yes.
May I explain?
Yes.
Yeah, this ordinance is relative to the traffic situation adjacent to the high school, and what we're doing is we're restricting left turns from Gilbert Ave onto River Drive, and restricting turns from River Drive onto Gilbert Ave between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., and 2:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. And relative to the size of the signs, once we pass this ordinance, it goes to the county. Once the county approves, they will provide signs that meet these standards. So those signs will be replaced. Those were just temporary signs that were put up while we were evaluating it over this period. I believe these changes made a difference in the traffic flow
They've been working?
at the high school.
Yes.
Well, you got your super duper here. Was that working?
It's working. I don't see many cars in front of my house for a while.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
Truinski,
Yes.
and Wansino.
Yes.
Motion's approved. Mayor, I'm going to need a copy of the second ordinance as well.
You can explain that one too, Mr. Gibbon.
Certainly. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Licensing and Business Regulations, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, June 16, 2011, and that further consideration of the ordinance would be taken up at this meeting, and whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Licensing and Business Regulations pass on final reading.
May I have a motion open to the public, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Valentino, second by Mr. Catamagna. Anybody in the public who wish to be heard on this? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So move. Second.
Mr. Catamagna, and second, Mr. Conboy. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna.
Yes.
Castiglia.
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Truinski.
Yes.
And Wansino.
Yes.
Motion passes. We have a consent agenda. We have Resolution 198-11 for the payment of bills, 199-11 for the confirmation of checks, 200-11 confirmation of payroll, 201-11 Chapter 159 insertion of revenue and appropriations municipal alliance grant, Resolution 202-11 adopt corrective action plan municipal audit 2010, Resolution 203-11 approve annual report of the municipal audit for the year 2010. Resolution 204-11 approve insertion of dedication of rider 2011 budget. Resolution 205-11 approve insertion of immigration custom enforcement, ICE 2011 budget. Resolution 206-11 approve official check registers. Resolution 207-11 refund third-party tax title lien bank customer for Phoenix. Resolution 208-11, refund third-party tax title lien, Robert Rothman Pension Plan. Resolution 209-11, approve change order number 1, Rayvax Contracting Corp. Resolution 210-11, award 2011 road resurfacing program. Resolution 211-11, authorize refund of taxes due to tax court appeals. Resolution 212-11, appoint staff and recreation summer camp program. Resolution 213-11, refund credit balances on property tax accounts. Resolution 214-11, renew liquor license for the 2011 to 2012 license term. Resolution 215-11, grant permission for block party, Spidell Avenue. Resolution 216-11, grant permission for block party, Rudolph Avenue. And Resolution 217-11, authorize developers agreement between the Borough and River Drive Development, LLC.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Conboy, second.
Second.
Mr. Castiglia, any discussion on the
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, can we take 217-11 off the consent agenda? I have a couple issues I'd like to bring up.
Okay. We'll remove 2011 from the consent agenda. May I have a motion on,
217-11.
we have a motion on it.
So it would be 198 through 216-11.
Right. Call the roll, please.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Resolution 211,
217-11, Mayor.
217, is that what you wanted, Mr. Tilly?
Yeah, but the River Drive development, I got a question on that, Mayor.
Okay,
Okay, if I may.
go ahead.
This developers agreement, have they been before the planning board, Mayor?
Yes, they received approval from the planning board.
But what about the sewer and water and all that? It's subject to sewer and water from, like, I know a DPW had issues with the sewer and water on that street, or at least the sewer. Have they been contacted, do we know?
DPW?
Yes.
Scott's okay, he signed off on this?
I spoke to Scott about it yesterday. There was an issue about the fees, the permit fees,
Right,
but I don't believe there are any other issues about development of the property.
okay, I'm just want to make sure, for the record, that the sewer is adequate on River Drive to take care of this project.
Scott was aware of the,
Because I thought last time I spoke with Scott, he was up in the air on it.
well, he was aware of the development, and again, when I saw him yesterday and spoke to him here, the only question in his mind was the amount of the sewer charge, the connection charge.
Okay, I'm just going to go on the record just saying that I'm not sure. I just wanted to make sure and let the building department double check, because as far as I know, I thought it didn't even go through plumbing review yet, which is for the final plans, but 187 units is X amount of gallons per day, and I just want to make
This
sure.
is actually for only, I believe, 101 of those units. It's one building, not
And for the record, the total number of units there was slated for
150.
150, because I see numbers of 600,
No,
700.
no, we'll get into that.
Okay, okay, all right.
Can I have a motion on 2117, please? Mr. Chouinski?
Yes, someone.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Boncino, any discussion? Call the roll.
Council members Catamagna?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes,
And Bonsino?
Yes.
Motion passes. There are no applications, Mayor.
Reports, let me start at this end. Mr. Catamagna.
Start with this.
He's not here at that end, so I'll start at the long end.
No problem.
Mr. Work doesn't
I
have
have
a
a few
report.
things to say, not much. I attended the Board of Education meeting, Mr. Tomlin's meeting last Wednesday, and I'll tell you, I was very much impressed with the building, the way it will look. It looks beautiful, because I've been in different towns. I've been in Oradell, I was there, and I've been Westwood. I've seen many different towns in Bergen County. They look beautiful, and also Maywood. And really, to have something like this in Elmo Park would be a dream. The only question would be how we're going to pay for it. We're going to talk about that. But a lot of stuff, they have to be replaced. They have to be, some of the stuff, the bleachers are condemned. The tower there has to be replaced. Things that should be done. But I hope maybe we find the money somewhere, somehow, and to do all this renovation. I have a question about the park. Mr. Truinski, the park. Any answer about the...
Park?
Not the park.
Gilbert Ave Park?
Yeah.
I was away, Frank, I got back 2 weeks ago.
Did we
I
get an
know-
answer from the letter that we sent?
Not yet.
The county did, I know the county met, I know Mr. Christner, I think the mayor was in contact with him, and I think they're going to keep the park from what I understand. They're going to clean it up, but the mayor can elaborate on that.
Yeah, well, you cannot tell us.
Let me elaborate right now.
Right.
They're going to be sending us a letter. I'd rather not elaborate until we get the letter and everybody reads what they
Okay.
have to say.
Right. But one idea maybe in the future, we should find like everyone, we have like a volunteer fireman, volunteer for many different things. Maybe we could find volunteers to clean up the park.
When you get the letter, you're going to find out that they're going to be cleaning up the park.
They're going to clean
Well,
it.
in case we be able to maintain as a
Well,
former
if they're going to
volunteer
keep
for
the
that.
park, they're going to maintain it.
All right, sounds good.
Anything else?
That's all for now.
Thank you. Mr. Chouinski, I'm talking to you.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, on the park, Mayor, though, I did speak with Ron Chris the other day. Like I said, I was up there, the governor happened to pop into town in Bergen County. And anyway, I was up there, and Mr. Chris did tell me they are keeping the park, and I know a letter's coming out. But also that he was going to start clearing immediately. They are going to clean everything up. He does agree that the upper field should be down the road sometime, maybe for upper fields down the road sometime should be for ball fields. But they're going to put it out to the public, I understand, for the trees on the major section, if they can help clearing, which they would hold harmless and indemnify the county to help them out clearing. Because there was, as you know, when we walked it, Lou, there was a lot of heavy trees up on the other. The lower end, the walking path they're going to do and all that, fine. But on another note, what I'd like to, a few items I did, the fire department meeting I wasn't privy to because I was away. I just attended the JIF meeting for the Joint Insurance Fund again on Wednesday. Everything is status quo. They're still getting a great number of claims, but they're still under the threshold where they're worried, so we're in good shape there. Something came up while I was away, and I got a couple calls on this school referendum, and as you know, I was at the meeting just before I left with the school board to voice my opinion on doing more ball fields and wellness centers, whatever you want to call it, administration buildings and such. In this financial climate, I am totally against it. You all know that. But what was alarming to me, and I did call the reporter and woke him up on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock after I found about the Shopper article, came out and quoted me with saying that until 2029, we're paying off the last $50 million referendum at $2 million a year. But what did irk me is I got calls from several residents on my cell phone, which everybody has, that the $20 million expansion would only cost us $11 per household. I said, well, that can't be right, guys. So I called our CFO immediately, and I spoke with Mr. Lurch. The number is more like $340 a year for the next 15 years per household, guys. Now, for the life of me, I can't figure out why we would do more rec programs. We have a rec center. We have ball fields. I just don't see it. And as I've been seeing in some of the newspaper articles, they're even paying into club fees at some of the high schools right now, let alone activity fees for sports. So that said, I just wanted to set the record straight. If the taxpayers are happy with it, and like I'm a Christie fan, and he'll tell you to your face, majority rules. So whatever happens there happens. And on the last note, I asked our assistant clerk, Barbara, because you know we are talking of going electronic with our council. This packet right now, for tonight, for just the 8 of us, costs us $101. Multiply times 4 meetings, work and everything, you're $400 a month, guys. It's time. We have to go electronic. We can save this money, archive it over to computers, and be done with it. And we'll work on that. Thank you.
Mr. Castiglia?
Yeah, just a few things, Mayor. I got a couple of calls on the graffiti under Route 80, the Boulevard and South Center Street. The prisoners were in, I believe it was last week or the beginning of this week. The Department of Corrections sent a crew over that worked with our 2 members of our DPW. And if you drive past there now, you can see the middle section, second highest section from the ground, has been painted in a kind of blue-gray tone, which covers all the graffiti. It looks a lot neater. It's uniform. So that's one thing. I also wanted to talk about the Langen property a little bit, with the planning board. There's been rumors. That's normal. That happens a lot. I've heard 200 units. Mr. Tomko's here, superintendent. I think you might have made a statement of 300 or 400 units going in down there. Richie just said something about 700 or 800. First time I heard that.
No, 180.
180. All right. Well, you said I think eventually.
No, 180 over there.
Okay. Well, I have it right here. They have a permit right now to move soil down there. They also have been approved for 108 units.
100. That's it.
All right, 108, right now, 108 units. 51 of them are 1-bedroom, 53 will be 2 bedrooms, and 3 units will have 4 bedrooms. That's the 100. That's the 108.
3-bedroom.
The 3-bedroom. That's the 108. There is a phase 2 that we haven't seen before the planning board yet, and that might involve 51 units. Now, that's all we've heard about so far. So if rumors are flying around, that's all the official word on it. That's a total of 159 units. I just wanted to clear that up before it goes any further. And I think that's it, man.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I just ask a short note on that? Brian, was that the maximum number of units the court allowed? The one?
Yeah, that was the court-imposed
Brian,
number.
speak into the microphone.
That was the number imposed by the court in order for the borough to meet both its first and second round obligation under COA. We now will have a certification for those first 2 rounds, and as you know, I'm sure, the 3rd round is up in the air. The court's thrown out the rules, so we're not sure what our obligation will be for the 3rd round. So right now, our obligation will be satisfied.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that also. The COA, the state has rules, the COA. 16 of those units will be low to moderate
Correct.
housing.
Yeah, not the whole...
Affordable housing.
Right.
16 units out of all.
Excuse me, is it true that the planning board reject this application first?
This went to court.
It
I'll
was
have
a
Mr.
court-
Gibbon
He
explain
He
it.
can explain the legal aspects. of
Yeah,
it.
this went to court, and the settlement was approved by Judge Martinotti, and after it was approved, then naturally the applicant or the developer had to go to the planning board because they still had to get site plan approval, and I'm sure that, I know it took quite a while, and there are many conditions that are contained in the resolution of approval, and in fact, you already passed a developer's agreement tonight that imposes obligations on the developer to do a number of things.
Couldn't
Was
be
it one of the conditions they're not going to have any children?
No.
No, that can't be a condition. That would be illegal.
No. It's going to be an impact on our school.
Frank, if you remember from the last meeting we had with Langen LKD Associates, their planners came in, the maximum or the expected amount of school children was 10 to 12.
Yeah, 8 to 12.
Under unit
12. It's
And
gonna be geared-
that's proven by their statistics.
gonna be
You
geared
can
to
argue it,
professional
well,
people.
if you want, we can bring Bernie Langen and you can talk.
Sounds like very few.
I don't agree with the
Let me-
numbers, but
It's
Maybe
probably a
they're
little
not
higher than
attaining
that,
these
but that's-
people.
Let me go on to Mr. Conboy.
Well, I think I'd just like to comment on that, Mayor. As Brian already did, our borough attorney, we did fight that project, and unfortunately, we lost. But I do want to comment that in case for those who see this for the first time and catch this and kind of catch the story midstream, also the bottom portion of all these buildings are going to be strip malls, correct?
It's going to be
Yeah.
retail.
Right, so retail. So it's actually somewhat being built to the specifications of more like the commuter-type resident who would
Exactly.
jump on to Route 80, use the, that's why one of the things we've been working on, and it's on and off, it gets hot and cold, is trying to build a commuter park and ride down on some of those pieces of property, due to the fact that that would be, it may not be, but it could be commuter, it's being built and styled more of a commuter-type lifestyle of a resident not looking to settle down with a family, because there's not going to be any playgrounds, there's not going to be any grassy areas. It's going to be strip mall-type, commuter-type traveling, folks.
First of all, like I said, you had 51 one-bedroom.
And
51
if
units
I
of
could just
one
add a
bedroom.
note to all this, so I won't then, well, I guess I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll segue into my report then, Mayor.
Well, I'll clean up what I have. Everybody's commenting on it. Whatever's not commented, I'll...
Oh,
clean
okay,
up.
because I just also wanted to comment, besides, before everybody panics and says this is going to bring an influx of, whether it's students or anything else, we currently have a senior development that is having difficulty filling itself out. And, we thought that would fill up, and they're struggling to fill those spots. So just to comment on that, as well as, since we're on this student, with a concern being students, that's why this mayor and council, all of us work together with our borough attorney to redo our zoning, to actually cut down on two-family dwellings, so they can stop expanding, so we could cut down on the influx of what it would be like more children and so forth, and the strain on all our other services to do, and that's why we were successful in doing that, so. Before I segue, if you want to comment on anything else?
No, I'll give them
Oh,
my...
okay. So I'll just keep rolling then.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I did not know about the county property, from what I learned here tonight. I will say, I guess the seeing it will be believing. I am very disappointed. As you guys know, as the people know, everyone here, anyone who was here knows, we went down to the county a couple of years back when I first got into office, myself, the mayor, Larry, and Richie, and they were ready to give it to us. And that held up. And believe me, we've had our own discussions in here, whether pros and cons of taking it all over and so forth. Me personally, I was more favorable of taking it all over. I understand there'd be some concerns, but not to even, and not to disagree with my colleagues, but not even being able to give the opportunity to try to make something happen through volunteerism, all kinds of things. And I don't want to touch on 10 different things I could rattle off on how we could have taken care of that property. And I think just because of the fact that, and maybe not this governing body or this mayor, but maybe 15 years from now, another mayor and council, or at least would have had the property. As the mayor is always telling us, God's not creating any new land unless you live near a volcano. So this would have been a great pickup for us, so I'm disappointed. But
True.
I'm willing to see what the county's going to do. I'm not very positive about it, but that's okay. I'll be more than happy to be proven wrong. And upon getting the letter from the county, I do plan on writing a letter to our executive and all of the current freeholders, letting them know how I feel about that piece of property. I don't know how many years now, decades, we've been maintaining the upper part, cutting it and everything else at no dime to the county. But there's plenty of other money to be thrown around everywhere else, as Overpeck would be a perfect example. But anyway, let me just move on to some other things then. Just some updates from the recreation area. The Mommy and Me classes were so well received, we're going to start a new session. The Zumba classes are going to start another session. It was very popular, and it's growing up in registrations. The folks, recreation is just not sports, folks. We have to have things for everybody. Try to anyway. The summertime fun basketball was a huge success. There's a lot of children enrolled. The kids are having fun. It's not a matter who scores or who wins, or kids are learning a lot about basketball, a lot of great volunteers. I'm very happy to see that's running so well. The summer camp has, of course, been up and running now for a while. And, of course, we're a little bit of a heat wave, so the spray ground park definitely helps cool them off. That's going very well. Our bus hit a few little speed bumps here or there, arguing back and forth with motor vehicle over what we should have done and this and that. We did have a surprise inspection on its first day. It rolled out of the DPW yard, kind of surprisingly, but hey, maybe I'll win the lottery tomorrow. But that's up and rolling and doing what it needs to be done to be compliant. Fall soccer is doing great registration. Folks, please don't forget to please register. We have signs out. They're off to a great enrollment. We've also launched a new travel soccer program. Please call the rec or go to its website to get more information. Hopefully it's up there and available. But the rec board, working with some volunteers in town, is going to launch a new travel program. So that is up and going. I want to thank everybody who came out to Community Day. It was very nice to see so many folks. We did have more vendors than usual. I know there's still an ongoing battle. Should we have a flea market? Not a flea market. Should we have a flea market? That's going to be constantly discussed. And hopefully we can come up with some other concepts to make that kind of work well. The rec board and our rec director is working very hard. They are refocusing some of their efforts. We had our rec director in with our rec chairman at a recent work meeting and talked to the mayor and council about English Avenue, about now doing something with the properties that were purchased some years ago. And so the rec board already rolled up their sleeves at their last work meeting and began discussing the English Ave project. As you know, we are currently getting money. We put up money from our trust to get money from the county with the open space. So we are putting about 50 grand in there right now to make some changes to affect the areas now. We're focusing on the playground area, and we're going to continue doing that to help grow that area. Many new concepts are under development as we speak. They had a very positive, very progressive work meeting this past week. So everyone keep in tune for new update stuff as it comes through. Hopefully we can come someday to some agreement to get the flyers back out through the backpacks. But if not, we're finding new ways to get that information out to you. So please keep an eye out for all that kind of stuff. I just also want to announce we're having National Night Out again. Mayor and council is working with the different departments here. A lot of great volunteers are working behind the scenes to give you, all of us, another great National Night Out. National Night Out is a crime night out. Get out with your neighbors. Look at what your local police authority is doing to keep crime down. Look to see what our other emergency personnel are doing, fire department and our ambulance corps. Last year it was a huge success. We had kind of tried to bring it back to life, and we were very successful. Over 400 residents, if you remember, came out. Everything was free to Elmwood Park residents only. Spray grounds were open and so forth. We're going to do the same thing this year. The spray grounds, this is on August 2nd. I'm sorry if I didn't say that. August 2nd. It's a Tuesday night, I believe, beginning at 7 o'clock. There'll be a DJ. A lot of these services are all being volunteered by the individuals. There's going to be a DJ. The spray park will be opened again. The ambulance corps will be doing demonstrations. The fire department is going to do a very big demonstration, for what I'm told. The police department will be there doing what they need to do to keep all of our residents up to date. And again, there'll be free hot dogs. I tried to get free empanadas, but that didn't work. I like empanadas myself. But we are going to do free hot dogs again, free drinks, free Italian ices, and we're also this year trying something new. Instead of a basketball foul shooting contest, we're actually having a watermelon eating contest.
Boy.
Children only, adults were excluded. I was kind of hoping to take it home in gold, but I got excluded. But they're going to be a watermelon eating contest, seedless watermelon. So we're looking at all these things to make sure it's safe.
Sure.
I hope everyone is enjoying the summer and so forth and watch the heat. I am then just going to segue on to a couple of points here about something else. Councilman Chewinski kind of touched on it. As you have heard, I don't disagree with everything. Our superintendent is here in the audience tonight, as we both like empanadas. But there are some things that I am concerned about as your councilman and liaison to recreation. Some time ago, there was some discussion about turning all of our functions that we have and programs that we have and doing something with the Board of Education and so forth. Of course, the mayor and council refused that kind of partnership or alliance or whatever you want to call it, because of the fact that one of the many reasons I have concerns with it is also because a topic that was discussed at that meeting was what would happen if, God forbid, the school board budget ever failed. And these could be programs that could get cut, and if that were to happen. And who knows? Right now, they're 2-0. The last two have passed. So maybe they're on a new trend, hopefully, for that. But it's something I don't want to bargain away. I'm also very leery, as Councilman Chewinski mentioned before. I'm sure everyone saw this earlier this week in the paper. And what's shocking is when you see some of these towns that are on this list, maybe many of you saw the editorial that Mr. Garvey wrote in about these school districts are charging activity fees. Some of these towns are very well-off towns. I always hear residents say, we should be more like Ridgewood. Well, Ridgewood's on the list that's charging an activity fee. Teaneck this week has decided to charge an activity fee of $50. Last year in their budget, some of their stuff, they canceled some of their sports, freshman sports, things like that, to get into their budget. Such towns as New Milford, Cresskill, Tenafly, Ridgewood, Wayne, who has, 2 fantastic school districts and turf fields and everything else, they charge an activity fee. And these fees range from anywhere from $50 to $150. So these are the kind of things I'm concerned about when it comes down to things like that. I know we also charge fees to be part of your program, and that's to run the program. So I have some concerns with those kind of things when those things do come around. And this is where I get a little upset with the Board of Education. The board recently approved to hire an assistant athletic director at $30,000 a year, I believe is the starting salary. I did some nosing around. I can't find, and maybe they could correct me and tell me I'm wrong, some are in the audience tonight, I can't find a school that has an assistant athletic director. Clifton has over 11,000 students in it. They have one athletic director and a secretary that they have to share with somebody else. And that AD sees over all the high school sports, oversees all the grammar school, middle school programs that they have at their programs. So why we have to have an assistant athletic director at $30K, that could have been keeping a teacher. Maybe the French teacher, maybe the Italian teacher. I don't know. But I'm just, I don't see it. And, I'm just going to make a plea to the residents of this community. There's 3 seats available in April. Please get involved. You look to get in to see what's going on, where the money's being spent. This stuff just drags it all up. I too have attended both of Mr. Tomko's presentations, and the school board, their presentations. It's not just his program. And as a past athlete, it looks real nice. I mean, we saw black and whites of it, but I saw it in color, and it's very, of course, very impressive and everything. And my main concern is to the taxpayers of Elmwood Park. And also, as we were all in a recent library meeting before we came out here, it's you look back at some of the things that have to get fixed in the school district, and you just wonder how some of these things have been let to go on for as long as they have. I'm going to bring up an old story, but back in the day, I guess when the school board budgets were failing, Mayor, you probably know more about this. I don't know if it was the past administrator but there was a gentleman, I forget his name, Dr. something, if I'm not mistaken, or somebody like that. You know, in anticipation of the budget failing, that individual would come in and say, look, here's all my quotes, we have to do the roof, we have to do the windows, we have to do this. If it does fail, at least give me the money to do this and to do that. I don't know where all that communication ever went over the years. It predates all of us here, but when you look at the work that has to be done, there's some serious, obviously some very serious work. Some of it I think should have been addressed in the first referendum. If you have a girder that's deteriorating, that didn't just start deteriorating 5 years ago. That's a girder, that's a steel girder. As we talk about our plows all the time, you know, plows are left outside and they're made out of steel. So folks, it's really going to be up to you. It's going to be come out in referendum in December, all of us. Repairs to all the school sites is about $3.5 million. Repairs to refurbish the gymnasium is another $2.4 million and change, 2 gymnasiums. So you're looking at almost $6 million, 5.956. So $6 million in that area. Then the other 2 pieces of it is the athletic complex, which is about $6.5 million and change, and the rebuilding, a new building structure, which would house the Board of Education, and on the top portion and below that would house our special education classes for another $6.5 million. You know, I know that when the school board moved from the boulevard, it was supposed to save the taxpayers $43,000 a year. At least that's what the prices they were quoting. Now they've moved now to 16th Ave, and now we want to move them again. You know, this will add, if this goes through in December when it goes out for referendum, this will add $340, $350 roughly to your tax bill on top of the 4 and change that you're paying now. So you're talking, you know, to see that get increased. I just don't, my biggest concern is you as the taxpayers, us as taxpayers, how much more we can just keep affording to make this continue to happen. I'm sure it'll be interesting as you hear more information that comes out about the project. Just one last thing. Over the years, last couple of years, as you know, we've started a very aggressive program about fingerprinting our coaches. This came down originally actually from the state, and as the mayor always says, you know, if the state, you know, mandates that they should pay for it, but they don't. So we have to pay for it. But we, unlike other municipalities, we actually reimburse our coaches. So I had mentioned this a while back, but now the check came in, and I'd like to share it with you. Ms. Pugliese, our recreation director, was very aggressive in trying to make this happen and working with this foundation. In the Megan Nicole Kanka, we remember the situation happened with Megan Kanka. This is a foundation her mother continues to run, Maureen, and because we've been so diligent and so forth, the foundation saw that as long as we continue to be diligent in this area, they have reimbursed us. We had 119 coaches. People went through background checks for the past current season, and they reimbursed us the entire amount, which was $3,125 and change. So I just want to thank our rec director, because we did get criticized. Some people say, oh, you know, this is another $1,000 or this or that. Why are we spending money? This actually is coming right back to us. So it's now at zero cost to us. Hope that continues. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Conboy. Mr. Boncino?
Yes, Mayor. I have a very short report tonight. Over the last month, I've been really working to prepare for contract negotiations with the PBA. I'm happy to report that they're ongoing. We're having good discussions, and I believe the mayor and council look forward to having an agreement in place by year's end.
Can't hear you, Lou. Bring it up closer.
Also regarding the police, they had a checkpoint again on July 9th. They made 7 arrests and issued 93 traffic summonses. They're working very hard there on Route 46 on those weekend checkpoints, and I hope that continues. And finally, Tom brought up National Night Out. It was a great success last week, last year. Over the past couple of weeks, we're working behind the scenes to prepare for this year's, excuse me. But National Night Out, it's really designed to strengthen the partnership between the community and our law enforcement. And we're bringing in our law enforcement, our first responders, fire and ambulance corps. I encourage the town to come out, get to meet them, understand what they do, understand how they work for the town. It's really important. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. If I can just go back to a little bit on the apartments that will be constructed, let me just repeat a couple of things that Mr. Chewinski and Mr. Castiglia indicated. We're talking about 108 units in the beginning, right now. 108. You'll have 16 of them will be low and moderate, low or moderate, 16. And they expect maybe a dozen, in and around that number, children. Now, I've spoken to a few people that are involved in the construction of these types of apartments. I'm told that when you have a one-bedroom and you have any children, usually in 2 years, the kid's 2 years old, 3 years old, you're moving out. You don't have any place to keep them. So they expect maybe a dozen children in that kind of unit. The low and moderate income, as it stands now, according to the Council on Affordable Housing, two people at moderate income can be earning $52,000. So it's not people who are absolutely broke, people who have $5,000, $10,000. It's $52,000 that they can be earning in the Bergen County area to go in there. That's the moderate income. Secondly, the rents in these units will be above $1,800 for a month for a one-bedroom, and approximately $2,300 for a two-bedroom. So you're not getting people moving into these apartments that obviously cannot afford it, and hopefully we can open the negotiations to put the park and ride in right next to it, because I suspect many of these people are going to be working in the city, or they're going to be working in and around the city, and they need the park and ride to do that. I don't know who put the article in the papers saying 300 or 400. That's absolutely wrong. I would hope they would correct it. I think that the Langen consultants are going to contact the paper and have contacted them, indicating that those numbers are wrong. It's not 300 or 400. I don't expect to see police being added, DPW being added, or anything else like that. That would have to go in, and the school's not going to be affected greatly by it. Just one other item. This council, with Mr. Castiglia and I on the planning board over the years, and before the rest of the council got elected, we have a professional office program down at that area, just office buildings. And we rezoned it for just office buildings to keep out apartments, to keep out places like Lowe's, Home Depot, to keep out places like UBS, UPS, trucking companies, etc. We wanted just professional office buildings or things of that nature that are not going to impact our schools or our other facilities. That was done about 20 years ago, maybe more than 20 years ago. So we were looking ahead, and I was very pleased that we were able to keep those kinds of occupants, applications out. The state comes in with COA, and the state rules. So here we go. The best made plans of all of us here are wiped away because the state came in and said, well, it was a nice try, but we're going to have you put apartments in. Now, we have significant apartments in this town. It's not that you're against apartments. We have significant number of apartments in this town. We didn't need any more. As Mr. Conboy has indicated, we even rezoned part of this town to keep two-family houses from being constructed. Wherever there's a one-family house in this particular area, it has to remain a one-family house. Can't be knocked down and have a two-family house put in. That probably reduces the number of children. When you have 6 over 6, you can have 3, 4, 5 kids in each floor. You put one building up, you may have as many as 10 kids. I doubt it. People are having fewer kids now, but you can have that. And if you have 2 or 3 kids in each unit, that's 6 kids every time a building goes up. So let's try as hard as we could to stop something like this. Here we are fighting the state, and fortunately, Governor Christie is looking over that whole COA program, and this may end. This may end the entire situation where we have to have so many units for low and moderate income. I have to tell everybody. In the 2000 census, I think the income, the average income of this house was about $44,000, $45,000. I don't know what it's going to be with the new income, but, you know, we're average. This community has an average income of that. So even the moderate is higher than what we were in 2010. So please correct anyone who tells you we're having 300 or 400 units going up. Not true. Just not true. Why the paper printed that and how they got the information, I don't know. At this time, I would like a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Chewinski, second by Mr. Conboy. Any discussion, all in favor? If anyone wishes to be heard, please come to the microphone and give us your name and address and your question. Yes.
George Nestori, 2 Sabo Court. I haven't been here for a while, but I have a litany of things I hope I'm allowed to cover all the areas I'd like to discuss. First of all, on the apartments that are coming in, are they affected by rent leveling?
They should be.
Eventually.
They should be.
We have a rent leveling ordinance.
So who sets the price of
Yes.
the rental?
They would be covered by rent leveling except for the ones that are low and moderate income. Those are governed by the COA standards.
Well, is he allowed to get the market bidders?
Not for the low and moderate income.
No,
Those,
I'm talking about for the other.
for the rest, yes. Those are market rate units. Yes.
And so he like the mayor or somebody said that the apartments are going to go for over $2,000. Is that okay?
The developer gets to set the market rate units, the rent for those.
And then after that, he's locked in, he can't increase.
It would be subject to rent control,
Whatever
yes.
the ordinance says.
Correct.
Okay, now, that, I don't know if everybody knows this, but rent leveling is a problem, because what it does not allow the property value to be what it should be. So, in the apartments that we have now, 2 major apartment complex and the one on Linden Avenue, over the 30-some years, they have appealed their taxes based on the fact that rent leveling has prevented them from making the money that they were supposed to be making or thought they could be making. So that brought the value of their property down, and every time they went for an appeal, they won the appeal. So over the 30, 40 years, rent leveling has cost the taxpayers in this town millions of dollars, accrued, millions of dollars. And I don't know if there's anybody here that realizes it, but rent leveling has killed us financially. That's number one. Number two, I read in the paper where the state might pull back now and not require the 20% inspections of the apartments, like we used to have. Every 5 years, 100% of the apartments have to be inspected. Now, if that's not going to happen, it's just going to create more of a decay in the apartment complexes, because who's going to be the watchdog? And we have to take a strong issue to that and somehow make sure that we cover the inspections of the apartments so they don't deteriorate more than they have deteriorated. And that's a reflection on the community.
No.
And I'd just like to let people know that towns that have higher rentals, a ratio of rentals to private homes, one-family homes, their values go down. Because in a lot of cases, and I see it on my block, a lot of cases, the landlords do not live in town. And they just do the bare minimum and get as much money as they can and don't care about the quality of how the town looks or how the property looks. So we have to be very diligent on our apartments and make sure that our rentals are kept to a minimum. Because the more rentals ratio, the less the town value is. That's a fact, and I don't know if anybody is going to dispute that, but that's a fact. And one thing we've discussed, I've been discussing this with the mayor for years, and he's against it, and I hope maybe the rest of the council will see fit to apply this, because we're all in this town together, and we want the best thing for this town. Resident parking is something that you should strongly look at. Okay, resident parking has nothing but pluses. Wherever simply, wherever it's put into use, the towns are very happy with it. It cut down on illegal apartments. It cut down on your sewage payments. It cuts down on your garbage payments. Cut down on illegal kids in the school system. So we should very strongly look at resident parking. I understand that Tom Dush came over and gave a talk, or was scheduled to give a talk on resident parking, how effective it was over there. I don't know if that ever happened, but if you people look at the different ordinances that are out there, and any questions you have, they could be addressed. But resident parking is the way we should go to protect the community. Now, we have sanitary sewer systems that need to be updated. I don't know, here again, what the total volume that we push out in over a year, but the encroachment of water, rainwater, into the sanitary sewer system is tremendously costly, because we are metered based on the volume that leaves this town by the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission. And if we do not upgrade our sewer systems, we'll be paying for monitoring water and having water processed that we shouldn't have. And that, there's estimates anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year. I would like to get a number of how much it costs us, the Passaic Valley Water System, and the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission charges us per year on the gallons that are, leaving our town. And here again, illegal apartments and whatever else, would be minimized with resident parking. And every time someone flushes the toilet that shouldn't be in the town, or takes a shower or whatever and dumps garbage out, we pay for it. Now, on the new apartments, I think the mayor answered it, and I think somebody else, Mr. Conway, that there's 348 units that was scary that we saw on paper. It was in the community news. And I don't know if, for what you guys are saying, it's a much bigger improvement over what we saw on paper. But here again, I don't know if that's the best use for our town. What was Langen proposing before this? I understand was some type of a project that he proposed before this that may have been a better use. It might have been better for our taxpayers. I don't know. But I understand that he had some other project in mind that was not that did not come to fruition. So what I'd like to know is, when are we going to plan this town? Keep it well run. We have property along the river there that's privately owned. We can get maybe some state money. Over the years we could have, if we had gotten somebody that went out and got grants for us when the money was available, like all the upscale towns did. They went out and got their grants. They paid somebody a grant finder to pay them, and they got a lot of good things done in their town, which we didn't. And unfortunately, and now money's tight, and I don't know if we can still get grants, but we should be looking into them. The thing is that I understand, I saw in the paper where Garfield has like a park along the water, and that's going to be paid for by the state. And maybe we should take some of this land if we can get it from whatever is existing over there, because we have a very big eyesore there. If you look at, when you come down a ramp, I mentioned this for years, when you come down a ramp on Route 80, you're going east on Route 80, then you come off to come into Elmwood Park by Locust. You look into your right, what do you see? You see nothing but a real eyesore. That old factory that was the Wrights building years ago now, and I think Mark House still owns it, that big tank, which is rusted, it really doesn't look good. I think we should try to get somebody to encourage some big developer to come in and maybe work with Matt Margolis and change that into a nice, some type of a facility, like they do in other towns where there's old factories, Little Falls, they've even done it in Patterson. So maybe we should start looking at encouraging a positive growth in this town, especially along Market Street. It's draggy, it's not like a lot of these other towns have a great, main street where people, I'm not saying we should be like Ridgewood, and not too many are, but we shouldn't be like we are now. We have stores that can't be, that look terrible. And Route 4 is another, Broadway is another area. We should work with the Improvement Authority. I understand that they were trying to do that along Route 4 all the way in Fairlawn, and was going to stop at the Elmwood Park border. Here we go, we're stopping at the Elmwood Park border for any improvements, just like the barriers stopped at Elmwood Park because we never pursued it. And these things, we got to be proactive in helping this town improve and look better. In all fairness to the Board of Education, we're talking about Mr. Tommy asked why wasn't these facilities taken care of. Well, I can give you a reason why they weren't taken care of. The last good superintendent we had was John Santini. And from John Santini to, the present superintendent, there was a big gap. Okay, we had some major problems with superintendents. We had major problems with politics on the Board of Education and things that had to be done. And a lot of times when the budgets were beaten down, 99% of the time they were always beaten. The mayor and council always took money out, and they never had, all these capital outlays and improvements were never able to be done. And if you look at our field, you look at our track field, look at our football facility, look at our gym, the floor in our gym, it's a disgrace. When you go to any other school, you see nice, upgraded, updated, proud type facilities. And I think it's about time we start taking this a little more seriously. I understand that the cost of upgrading, remember, the value of this town, part of it, and a good portion of it, is education. And then now we have a superintendent. How many superintendents have you seen at meetings? Came to me. I haven't seen any in the past. And we have the new superintendents here. So it's good that you got to work with them. You got to work with the Board of Education because it's our kids, it's our value of our town, and we got to be proud of our system here. And that's what and the only way to do it is that we upgrade our facility. When people come to the wrestling matches, the basketball games, to see this and that, it's terrible. We can't even have track meets on our fields. It's so terrible. So I think we should look seriously at, instead of working with the board, instead of knocking them. Let's see. The Board of Health. Why can't we farm out our health inspections? Why do we have to have a full-time health inspector? I mean, other towns do it, and they use the county. They can come in 1 or 2 days a week, whatever has to be done. Why can't we do that? Why don't we look at that? I mean, we could save a tremendous amount of money in that area. And I think that should be looked at. Let's see. But by the way, on the state inspection for the 20%, I would like you people to at least write a letter stating to the state representative stating that that would leave us vulnerable to the whims of the landlord. So maybe you guys can make the motion later on if you feel strongly about it. I think you should. Now the police department is doing tremendous work down there. I read what they're doing. I hear a lot of comments throughout the county about our police department, and I think it's about time the police department got some accolades. They're doing a great job, and all these under the influence, whether it's drugs, dealing with drugs, they're saving our town. they're saving our town, they're saving somebody's life maybe, if these people are driving under the influence. So every time they have a trap somewhere, they are doing something good for our community and for the other people in the area. So we got to encourage redevelopment upgrades, and somehow you got to do it. Whether it's done with the mayor, the council, bring in some business guys. We're starting a Chamber of Commerce up again that was very active years ago, and that might help improve some of these areas and some of these blighted areas that we have. We can't even rent out little stores. We have the eyesore, that building here on...
George, if you could, if there's anybody else who wants to speak, and if you want to come back. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Okay.
Finish. So, Mr.
We have that old paint block building off of Van Dyke.
Cinco.
That's been like that for 35 years, and it's getting worse and worse looking. Can't something be done?
It will be done. We're taking it down as soon as we get the permission.
Yeah, this has been going like that.
As soon as
for
we
years.
get, it's being done, George. We're just waiting for a quote on how much it's going to cost to take it down.
Well, you know, this is something legally that should be done.
George,
We should have done this.
let me
long-
speak slow.
Huh?
It's being done. We're just waiting for a quote to take the building down.
Okay, all right, it's after 30 years. I mean, this thing was there for a long time.
I know it's there, George. But who controls all that, George? The state? The state?
I'm saying, it took a long time.
Yeah, it certainly did.
Okay, the tree program, do we still have a tree program?
No,
No, we don't have trees anymore that we...
we don't trim. It's up to each person.
No, getting a new tree.
The what?
Getting a new tree.
Oh, plant, yes, we still have it. Yeah.
Did you think of reinstituting the Shade Tree Commission of some sort?
No, some towns are just abolishing the Shade Tree Commission because
because
when you have a Shade Tree Commission, then you're obligated to take the trees down.
That was Pat Nelly.
Yeah,
Back then.
that's right.
Saddlebrook just announced they're dismantling theirs.
Saddlebrook then.
Yeah, it was in the paper this
It's
week.
on the paper.
It's in the shopper, I believe. Community News.
Anything else, George?
Yeah, and it's on our street, and it's on other streets. The signs, they're rusted, they're bent, they're broken, paint, the yellow paint is peeling off, it's blighted, it looks terrible. I mean, do we have a program that's going to upgrade that?
The DPW will be lining the streets up with the yellow and the white shortly,
The
yeah.
same with the plug, the fire plug. It's really terrible. It hasn't been done for maybe 10 years.
Yeah, we're looking into grants to do all that stuff. Clean Communities money.
Police department usually reports the bad signs to the DPW. I think they either repair or replace 30, 40 a month.
One other thing, I'm bringing it up again, we're talking about possibly getting some money back from the library board. Here again, Sabo Court, Mayor, is a disgrace. It looks like a third world country's road. It's grass, full throttle. It's terrible, it's blighted, and, you know, we're all paying over $10,000 and $9,000, $10,000 in taxes on that street. And I have people saying, why do we have to cut our grass when the street looks horrible? I mean, people, and even the people that are renting, the guy that lives a mile that owns one of the houses on the street, he was told to cut his grass because he lets his grass grow. He said, he comes down here, his grass cut, and he tells me, he says, look at your street. He says, what happened?
No, tell them to lower the air, it's getting warm in here.
Huh?
I told them to lower the thermostat so the air conditioner would go on.
How long are you going to talk, George?
Huh?
How much more?
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
I heard you.
Well, we got to do something with that street.
Okay.
I mean, I know you don't want to pave it. You're always not going to look. But at some time, you have to pave it. Okay? I mean, it's a blighted street. I asked the councilman to come down and say, I gave you guys pictures years ago. It's worse now than it was then.
Okay. We'll look into it next year.
But if you get the money from the library board, as opposed to saying no one to do it.
Library board, if there's any money after, if they do any repairs on the library, any money they give us has to go into completely reducing taxes. Can't be used to do anything else.
And so, which means that you never allocated any money for Sable Court then?
Not this year, no.
This year.
I mean, are you proud of having a street like that?
We are paving part of Fournier Crescent, which has never been paved, which is a major street in town. So this council is paving half that street, and you're complaining about your court.
Yeah.
Now, this is a major thoroughfare in town, so we're doing whatever we can, George, to hit the major streets and repave whatever this council...
What bothers me is over the years, there were a tremendous amount of...
George, you have 3 minutes.
Huh?
3 minutes we have to change.
Okay, over the years, there had a tremendous amount of money out there for grants that you never went out and got.
We always got the money for grants.
No, you didn't.
George, don't let me start arguing. We've been getting CD money, $200,000 a year in CD money to fix sewers and repave the
But
streets.
you see other towns, you don't see the decay that you see when you pull into Elmwood Park. Pull into Fairmont South, it's much nicer. I'm not even comparing you with Glen Rock. I'm not comparing you with Ridgewood. I'm not comparing you with these other towns. I'm comparing you with adjoining towns. And you go from Elmwood Park into these towns, there's a demarcation line. It's like going from North Korea to South Korea almost.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? No one wishes to be heard? I'll close the public portion of the meeting. Gentlemen, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Conboy, second by
Second.
Mr. Lonsino.
Nobody wants to
Any
go home?
discussion? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending, and let me just repeat, if I may, 4 minutes. You can watch this on Channel 77, Tuesday, 12 noon, Thursday, 4 p.m., and Friday, 11 a.m., or you can watch it on our website. Okay? Thank you very much for attending, and we appreciate